All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Mob Psycho 100, Season 2, Episode 4.
Last episode is a bit of a doozy.
Last episode was one of the best moments for Mob as a character in the entire show.
Oh boy, I'm worried for this good boy.
Really good episode. They basically foreshadowed things that I don't even know if they'll ever do. Like things that I feel like are huge for the series, but don't have to happen anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. But if they did do them soon, oh boy.
But if there's anything that they can do soon, it's get a little bit more of that introspective Mob stuff. Because that's the so good.
Also,
so good.
We do need to see Hanazawa again. Because let's be real, his magnificent hair is a sight to behold. So
if we're basically going through the episodes and we're just kind of bringing in characters that are like, oh, we haven't seen you in a while, so let's show you now, this would be the time. Because, I think so. Because we think back to season 1 and when Hanazawa kind of came into the story. That was episode 4, I believe. So, yeah, I think you're right. So this would be the time then. I also think that they've been kind of teasing a couple of the more intense linear potential storylines coming, and they want to start any now. Oh boy, I'm ready. My body is ready. I think it is, at least. Right, but you can't really know until it happens. Yeah, I'm just getting the psychic tingles, you know. So guys, without further ado, let's get into this. Oh. Okay. Oh, I'm hyped. All right. Get ready, ready to set me off, Mob. Get ready, did you ever have Mob? Get ready, ready to set me off, Mob. Get ready. Bam, 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 and come down. Can you feel your satisfaction? Your Mob, can you feel your frustration? Coming down, could you feel your satisfaction? You're a Mob. What you want to be. To conquer wa mini mote to break it down. The body of glory. 99.9, 99.9. So die for me, who ride my life, who ride my sides, who ride my heart in such uncommon places. Is that your deep? Is that your mind? The mob inside, the mob inside, the mob is the inverse of the latent untruth. Is that your duty? Is that your why? That's a goo. Whoa, oh, your life is your own. Get ready, ready to set me off, Mob. Get ready, did you ever have Mob? Get ready, ready to set me off, Mob. Get ready. Ooh! Oh, this is exactly how I'd want this to go. Contrasting the cup of curry with a super rich client. Yeah. Well, he's far away. Extra pay. They say they took a taxi and... Okay. A mansion! Whoa. Oh. Are these all psychics that have been gathered together? Yeah. Yeah. Yo! Ah, yes, good! And he's actually kind of legit, so, sweet. Spiritual Union President. I love it. This is the network he's a part of? I think it is, yeah. Oh, hey, yeah! The guy who would grab all the spirits into the jar and stuff. Wow. Oh, dang. Possessed? I think so. Jeez. Wow. You know what it is? She's psychic. Oh, yeah. That's what it's gonna be. It's blending the furthermore. Yep. Good call. That's amazing. Oh.
He's thinking like $30, you know?
Right. Okay. Nice. He's gonna mentally game them with rock, paper, scissors. Nice. Wow. All of the things that they do, yes.
Mob, you're coming too, though. Oh, right, because he doesn't think there's anything wrong, so Mob's not going in with him. Oh, boy.
Oh, this is good. Whoa, something's wrong with his perception.
So maybe... Oh, he's just taking it... Okay, so maybe she's psychically affecting him.
Yep. She's a psychic, yep, exactly. Oh, that's right. Oh. Yep. Oh, I called it. Oh my god. Whoa.
Oh, okay.
This is all the people in the past that have tried.
Or no, it's them all. I think it's them all trying right now.
Okay. Yeah. I think Dimple knows who this is. Oh, here we go. Oh, and then he died, and now he's... Oh, did he go dark? Yeah,
seems like...
Oh my god!
Wow.
Holy
crap.
God, that's amazing.
Oh, gotcha. Razor beam.
I give up.
Oh.
Whoa. Holy crap. Spirits and humans. They're melt. Yep. Freaking called it. Wow.
Holy crap. Dimple gets away.
Nope. Yeah. That's him. Yeah, exactly. Whoa, nice mob.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh my god! And remember the whole thing of Mob using his powers on people? Yes, a Reagan technique!
I love it.
But what happens now that... Oh, the mouth moved a little bit. This is getting dark. Holy crap. Yeah, they're running.
Oh, wow. Wow.
This is a feasting ceremony now. Progress is not explosion, 77%.
Okay.
Oh, dang. Jeez. Oh, animation. Oh, that's right. Mob, yes. Oh no! It's gonna break her own body. Oh no! Oh! Oh, that's horrible. The girls. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Whoa.
But I get the feeling it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
I can't separate the two.
Yeah. Becoming a spirit. Oh my god.
Oh wow.
Oh, the projection. Okay. Otherwise, he has to kill her.
Yeah.
He's like, I would love that. Yep. That's yeah. Dimple's been kind of waiting for this. He's like, he's so wholesome. How can I like? Has a little?
Well, he's been doing that since the beginning.
Yeah. Whoa. Dang. Oh! Oh! Don't you touch Reagan! Oh!
He protected the back of his head.
Yeah. Nice.
But you better run.
This is crazy, y'all. Like this is huge for the world of Mob Psycho. Like the implications of what's going on here. Whoa, whoa. Oh my god. Jeez. This is brutal. He's like,
but the thing is that looks human.
I know. It's traumatizing either way. Yes. We're gonna get the actual confirmation. And emotions are in everything. Oh! But you don't use them. Wow. Oh my gosh. Of course he would think that. Holy crap. Holy crap. What the hell?
Oh boy.
What? Holy. What? Oh my god!
Okay.
Well,
okay.
There it is! There it is! That's it! There it is! They were foreshadowing way more than just the connection between humans and spirits. Way more than just the connection between psychics and spirits. Way more than just the actual powers themselves. But actually what makes psychic energy even a thing. This is brilliant. Like, this is absolutely brilliant.
But
like,
all in one episode, they just...
Well, right now, we don't know actually what's real now.
Nope.
Like, our entire...
And it could go like this forever.
Well, I mean, who knows? It could go like this forever. This could all be happening inside the head of the whole thing there, and this is now the battle being waged.
Right. Which I'm pretty sure is what it is, but still.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
This episode broke me. This is the show that, like, I could have never predicted that we would go this far, but this is the show that I feel like I felt like we could go this big with this show. Like,
but
not this big, like, specifically, but I've always felt like Mob Psycho was this show that was just brimming with potential to go into some really cool places. And now, where we are right now, with just an all of a sudden, like, oh yeah, this is where the story's going. No warning. Well, no, there was plenty of warning and foreshadowing.
But we could not have expected something of this magnitude.
Like,
holy crap.
Okay, so let's briefly touch upon the big question conflict here.
Mm-hmm.
Mob, as a character right now, has been struggling with the separation of humans and spirits.
Yes.
And has been unable to reconcile the differences between the two, as they're both ever present and real for him.
Right.
Now, here's the thing that we just got brought up in this episode, is that we encountered a psychic who decided to end the separation for him and basically forego his physical body and become a being of pure psychic energy, pure spiritual energy, or whatever. So essentially stronger than Mob. Or at least more competent than Mob.
Right.
Probably not stronger, because Mob still hasn't exploded yet. But with what he did here, he essentially altered Mob's perception to the point where now he doesn't have something to compare humans to. He doesn't have spirits. He doesn't have, ESP. He can't perceive the extrasensory around him, essentially. And that delays the conflict, but Mob is now going to have to wage the battle of understanding his emotions and or maybe in some ways giving in to a little bit of his emotions in order to actually break out of this.
And he does need to do that in order to understand them.
Yes,
that's the thing. Because with Mob, I mean, we love him, but he bottles his things up.
Yep.
Right? And
it's
that's
a complex.
Not healthy, right?
It's a complex.
It's something that works for, it'll do you for a spell.
Sure.
But
good reference.
But he needs to be able to address these things. So there could be good that comes from this in the long term.
Well, there will definitely be good.
And I think there really will be.
Yes.
But oh boy.
But in the moment,
this is bad. This is bad. Like,
okay, so big things that Jacob and I have been talking about in previous episodes was that the creative thought energy was what I was generally calling it. They're just basically boiling it down to emotions here. Was basically creating the dragger. In this case, it's basically just the reactions to the stories about the dragger, which then it's like, where did the stories come from? Well, from people that created them. So I was kind of right, but it was actually the reactions to the creative energy put into the dragger that ended up creating the psychic power that she has. But you know what they're kind of saying here?
What?
I think with Mob, there's a reason why he's this strong. There's a reason why when his emotions run wild, he's able to essentially,
do anything,
do whatever he wants. When he loses consciousness, essentially, and the other side takes over. I think they're blending this also with Mob as well. I think the point is that the reason why Mob can even do what he just did here is because in some level he's like this guy.
Right.
He's very much like this guy.
Oh, the parallels are very strong.
The parallels in like character, but I think also in mechanics. I think boiled down to the fact that Mob for some reason is so busted powerful, and I think the best twist they could pull here, if they want to kind of use this as either a foreshadowing further for it, or to actually just flat out just say it, is that Mob has a much more connected relationship with spirits than he actually is aware.
Yes.
He is either drawing upon their power in the same way that this guy is, which I don't think they're actually doing that. Or he drew upon power from one or ad infinitum how many when he was a little kid, and there's been this essentially this dormant spirit just kind of in there that he needs to understand, and they're utilizing it as a mechanic in the story to be his emotions. But yeah, the whole connotation of him going unconscious and also having all the like the question marks as to like what is this, you know, all that. I've been wondering if they would ever actually make it mechanical, but I always thought it was just a plot device to.
And they could have it just be that.
And they could have it just be that. But I think now that they've introduced this guy and they're going this way with it.
They're opening things up. Like, we can't look at it as simply as we used to.
Exactly.
So.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, this is probably one of the most chilling, incredible episodes in Mob Psycho.
And, oh boy. And Reagan's not here.
Reagan's not here. Like, this is okay. Right before the episode, I was like, I really want some more mob introspection stuff. I didn't know they were gonna go literal with it. I didn't know they were gonna go like literal.
Well, like, and what sucks about this is that the thing is that since this world essentially that he's having Mob see is something of his creation.
Yes.
He could have it be however he wants. You know, what Mob sees here isn't necessarily reality. It's just some reality that he dreams up for Mob to try and twist him in whatever way he wants.
Right. And he could have altered his memory to make him be unable to use ESP. But one of the things that's tricky about that whole situation is that if he's controlling the world, and this is all just happening inside the head battle that they have going on here.
Yeah.
And this is just one of his attacks. Mob can't necessarily understand that. Mob won't necessarily understand that and be able to separate that. And regardless of whether or not he wins here, the damage might already have been done. And what they foreshadowed here with the idea of who can experience and harbor stronger emotions, those that experience, you know, true happiness, the joy, you know, all those positive things, or those that experience like ultimate suffering. Well, obviously the latter. And let's remind ourselves, you know, if we were to classify emotion, most of it is negative. Like if we were to separate like all the different ranges of emotion and stuff, if there was a spectrum of emotion, it's not like you can put it in terms of levels, but if you were to talk about the different types of emotion, most of it is negative. The thing is that negative emotion does not necessarily mean that it's evil or that it's stronger. It doesn't mean that it's a bad thing necessarily. And that's where he's going to have to take the nuggets of truth that
Reagan's given him.
Yes, that Reagan's given him, but also this antagonist here.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Because he is saying things that are right. He is saying that you need to be willing to experience the full gamut of it and not be afraid of the negative emotions.
Right. Because what it really is, when I think about it, is that Mob, his explosion, it's not him gaining some power up. It's that he's no longer bottling up part of himself.
Yes.
And it's not that it's because he bottles it up that it makes it stronger or whatever. No, it's just him basically for a moment that is accepting that. Now, not truly, because if it were truly, then it wouldn't be an explosion, right?
Right.
But it's something where he is unable to deny that part of himself anymore, right?
Right. And there comes a point when, you know, anyone who's experienced stress, they have basically like a stress like dam, you know, reservoir, and you can fill it up. Eventually, the dam gets too much pressure and it breaks, and then it all floods out.
Yeah, and that's. I mean, that's pretty basic. Like,
but that's also a healthy mechanism in some ways, because
we need that in order to regulate, basically.
Yes, exactly. And regulate. That's exactly
what that's what it is for Mob. But okay, so this is all absolutely fantastic.
Yes.
One thing that this introduces, the fact that they're doing this. I don't think they're doing this.
Okay.
But I think that the fact that it could be this is something worth looking at just from the perspective of the story and everything.
Okay, go on.
At this point, the what's-his-face guy is basically a god. The god of Mob's world. Right?
Yes.
Say that this isn't all Mob's world.
The whole show. Okay. You know, let's throw that out there. I think then that is something where in Mob's world he would introduce elements by which his subconscious desires to help himself be free to express himself.
Right.
And that's where I would say the value can come in. The problem with that,
I don't think they're ever going to do like some reveal or whatever, but I think it's something that basically to consider it as if this were all Mob's basically representation of the world, and that's why he's a psychic god.
Totally.
I think that's something that's worth keeping in mind.
Totally. It's something that's worth keeping in mind, but that's also a very natural conclusion to bring up whenever our perception is challenged. Whenever a story basically says what you see might not be real. But unfortunately, I think that's reality. Is that we have only perception. We do not perceive reality without a filter.
Right.
And that is something that is important to understand. I think that's also something that is a theme of the story. So I think you're dead on the money with the thematic aspect of that, in that Mob sees emotion and he sees people and he sees spirits through his own lens. And part of what Reagan was talking about in previous episodes was that he's like, I don't have Mob's filter. I don't see the world the way he does. Not saying that Mob perceives reality, but in some ways he is saying that Mob perceives more of reality than I do. Because, you know, I don't have ESP, which literally means extra sensory perception. So he has an extra level of perception that no one else has. When you bring that in as a theme of the story, one of the things that means is you have a large amount of intake. You have an extreme amount of absorbing capacity. And not capacity. Your absorption rate is higher than most others, which is why I think Mob's explosions.
Not necessarily retention. But,
no, exactly. And that's why I think Mob's explosions happen. Is that he's constantly absorbing
and not fully able to process it.
And he's not able to process it. So this whole story is about Mob, I would say, expressing his will into reality. And in a lot of ways, that makes this world his world. That makes him kind of the god of his own world in that way, because when he finishes his arc, when he finishes his story, I would say he should be able to, at will, express his emotions in a healthy way, and it's such that it doesn't necessarily mean he has to utilize his psychic powers, but if he wanted to, he could. And this is the, you know, the beauty of having, in some ways, a, you know, typical overpowered protagonist, where you get them into a situation that the conflict isn't really about the environment.
It's about them.
It's about them. It's about introspection. And by delving into this here and now, like, this is huge, guys. This is Mob's entire character arc, the idea of expressing himself, actually being free to do that, and having a handle on both the positive and negative aspects of his own emotion. Because in the first season, he went through multiple explosions, and some of those explosions, at least most of them, were not positive. Like they were not positive explosions.
They were not.
And we think back to the original one when he was a kid, you know. That one was the get a clue, Mob, you know. But we did have a good one. We did have a positive one. And here's where the lie comes in, is that the guy said that the negative emotion is more powerful. And we've already seen that that's completely bullcrap because of what happened when he had gratitude for Reagan. The number went through the roof.
And was that was that supposed to be like a literal representation of this is a 10 times more powerful explosion or something? No, not necessarily. No. But that was intentional.
Intentional.
And that's what makes me know that this is going to be okay. This is going to be okay eventually, but
there might be some suffering along the way.
Exactly. And
yes, but you're right. Yeah.
But like but Mob Psycho as a show has changed as of this point. Like, it can't go back to the way things were. Like, and even if it gets close, it will be noticeably different. Like,
I'm so happy though.
It's gonna be good, but oh boy, this is gonna be rough. This is gonna be rough.
Jacob. When the first episode of season 2 aired, and they teased us that Mob's abilities were similar to spirits, essentially.
Uh-huh.
And then they ended up basically saying that the Dragger was a creation of the emotions and the negativity, collective imagination of all these people and stuff there. And then they basically had Mob contemplating his expression being something that would people even really react negatively to that? Like, would people yell at me? Would people be able to stop me? Like, I think there's a lot of things that can be implied and extrapolated there, but
sure,
having it go to this place here and having Mob now kind of explore this internal world here, this place of where he won't have ESP and stuff. Do you think in some ways this will be something where he will feel a breath of fresh air in some ways?
No.
Hold on. Or do you feel like he's going to be feeling a kind of a, I don't want to say a voice, but a voice is kind of the best thing I can come up with.
Okay.
That his emotions essentially have taken on, because if it's not a spirit, I think that they're angle. The emotions are basically have always kind of been there, kind of batting at him and stuff, and it's actually his own psychic abilities that have kept things cloistered away to protect
abilities.
him.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be the most restless, like the perfect opposite of calm. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Because the thing is that because this guy is doing this to torture him. He's doing it to basically take his own perspective and forcefully make Mob adopt it.
Okay, but do you really think that's his perspective, though?
Oh, he might, yes. In short, yes.
Okay.
Because what he's wanting to do is he's basically saying, you've only seen things from a certain way,
right?
But I know how things really are. So I'm going to create this world, which will have his own perspective and tint on it because he's the one that's making it. And I'm going to make it so that you can experience suffering and all the crazy stuff that you haven't really had to deal with because of your psychic abilities. He literally said, really? I'm going to try and basically bring out those negative emotions, show you how different they are and stuff because you're not in touch with them.
Okay, it might go that way. What I think might be here is that this is actually going to be a way for Mob to see his own perspective.
Yeah, that will be how it will be in hindsight, because of the stuff that happens here.
Okay, sure.
But that is not at all the intent of the person behind this.
Gotcha.
And I don't think that will be the immediate result.
Right. I'm not trying to judge his intent. What I'm wondering is basically the result of what will be going on in Mob's head when this whole false world is being explored.
Nothing pleasant.
Okay, because that's why I'm going to. I want to put two things in tandem here. What I'm wondering is that will Mob's reality in this whole dream scape world here be one where it's actually a lot calmer now because he doesn't have to deal with any spirits or anything like that? Or on another side of things, will the emotions that he has or that he's had and stuff be now basically unbridled?
Sure, yeah, and we all can, revel in our inner darkness a little bit, right? And that'll be brought out from up here.
Communicating well here. I don't think you're understanding what I'm trying to say because I'm not communicating it well.
Are you talking about the fact that Mob will basically be able to have his outbursts without having consequences that are so big that he needs to bottle them up?
No. What it is that when he's had his emotions and stuff start to build,
yeah,
it's something where you see a physical reaction on him. He is sweating. They draw him like he's amorphous. Right. He's starting to turn to a blob. Like it's a painful experience for him as he's letting them out. When he lets them out, though, there's this way they draw him where he suddenly becomes basically like this whole nother person, right?
Sure.
like we go cool mob, like badass mob or whatever. I'm wondering though if there's actually going to be a period of this where, because this is all some false perception thing, the one part that it won't actually touch touch that much is actually his own emotions, because the guy wants him to experience those. And it will be maybe a mix between him starting off in this and going, wow, this is kind of nice. This is kind of calm. Like there's not a lot going on. But then once he realizes that this emotion is something that he's never really dealt with, that he's never,
And which emotion are you talking about? Being calm or what?
No, just all the negative emotions that he's built up over the years.
And that's going to be a calm thing?
No. I'm saying that, do you think that will be either he's calm because the guy will have actually messed with his emotions and stuff like that to where it's something that he's not perceiving? Or is this a raw, kind of exposing thing where all those emotions will be laid out to bear in his own... I'm not making sense here. Well,
he's definitely going to bring out the darker sides of Mob, right?
Okay, because I don't see how that's going to work.
You don't?
Well, I don't think that's... I understand how it could bring out the darker side in Mob, but I think it's more about Mob letting the darker side out of Mob. He's put an environment in there with where it will happen.
I mean,
and stuff.
Eventually it's all tied to Mob's choices, but the thing is that because he's dictating the entire world, right? He is going to try and do what he perceived as having happened to him or something along those lines, right? He's going because he's in a way searching for kinship, right, with this one person that might actually be able to be like him,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's at least a possibility of I would say how and why he's doing this, other than just because strict malevolence is that there's not really much logic behind that. It just ends up being something.
We explained actually why he was being malevolent. He had a when he was going and consuming the spirits, he had a specific thing about, I'm going to show them all what the pure hatred looks like for those that have been used.
Right. For those who have been used. Right. So he feels that he's been used. Why? Who knows? What that looked like for him.
Right.
Who knows? Yeah. But the thing is, he feels that he has been wronged, slighted, whatever, by the world, and now he's going to create a world for Mob in which he will try and bring that out of Mob. So, this world is going to be vindictive. It is not going to be pleasant. There might be a pleasant aspect where Mob is finally able to actually deal with his negative emotions without overt consequences, right? Yeah. Okay. But the thing is that this, but
you think it's going to be a horror escape, essentially, like the
more or less, and it's going to be and it's going to have just enough of pseudo realism in order to make it not be like the early versions of the Matrix. But the thing is that perception defines reality. Yeah. And his perception defines Mob's reality right now. What you focus on, you find. So basically, he's going to make it seem like that's all there is, right? Which will then,
yeah,
it's trying to win a game where you make the rules. It's yay, wow, Yeah,
it's a very natural conclusion at that point, just based on the fact that he has no contest. My thing is, I'm trying to figure out where the point of contest will be, and you're saying that there's none.
Well, yeah,
and I'm actually thinking, where will it be? And that's why I think because he said he changed his memory so that he can't have ESP.
Yeah.
What I see in that is, okay, he's like, I'm going to win this battle here, but now I'm going to start a new battle where I begin to change who you are.
And when I say that it's no contest, it's not that it's not actually a contest, because Mob will resist, and because Mob's a good boy, and all that stuff, right? But the thing is that it's to take the stance of like tabletop RPGs, for instance, for those of you familiar with it. If the GM or DM or whatever ever gets in the mode that they're against the players, well, yay, the DM wins, because you make the rules. You do everything, right?
Right.
They might, resist for a while as you're toying with them, but it's just, it is
you're God. You can't
you're God,
lose.
Right?
Yes.
You can't lose. So unless they do something where Mob just, magically unlocks his powers back again and, and gets himself out of there, which is what the explosion could be, right? If that still is something that ends up happening, I don't know, but I get the feeling it's not. So, unless they basically use that as Mob's trump card to sort of get him out of this, there's no reason that he can do anything to stop this guy.
Right. That's why I think that it's not that he's taken full control over the world. I think he's trying to actually replicate the world in such a way, and this is where I'm trying to look at this with the hindsight thing that we'll have in a few episodes or so, where this ends up helping Mob. So
once Mob gets out, it'll absolutely help him, because it's forcing him, even though unpleasant and malevolent in intent, to deal with that side of himself, because he does need to deal with it.
Right, and that's why I'm wondering, is this going to be something where Mob's going to get even more introspective and figure out, like, wait a minute, this calm, I mean, I'm thinking it's going to be one of the two here. Okay, hold on. Please don't reject this immediately. The idea of him having, right now, a sense of calm because he doesn't have his, psychic, input overload coming in.
Okay.
It's now just simple.
Sure.
Or is it going to be a thing where his internal stuff, because this is how it has to be, like the external, I'm sorry, this is how I can explain what I'm trying to come across with here, is that the external doesn't matter from the conflict side of things, because he either, like, I'm metagaming this, Jacob, is that the bad guy here, the antagonist, has the external. He wins that environment.
Absolutely, unequivocally.
Right. He told us the limitations of his effect on the internal environment of Mob, his memory. He altered it a little bit, right? He didn't take anything else.
He's not taking over Mob's mind or anything like that, because otherwise there would be no point in this experiment.
Right. So my thing is, what is Mob's internal state going to be like? And I think it's going to be this juxtaposition between the calmness of him not getting all this input anymore. Okay, his input has lessened, so it leads to less explosive thing there.
Sure.
But then yes, there's going to be some muckery in the environment and stuff. Will there be a point where the internal stuff gets a voice that's loud, that starts to like become an actual battlefield within there? So then Mob can retreat even further into himself, deal with those emotions, those voices, those things that come out, with maybe the calm aspect, the core of who Mob is as a person. And that's where they will join finally. Mob will have some understanding of his emotions, who he is. He'll reawaken his psychic powers, essentially.
Okay.
And then he'll win, and then he'll learn from that there.
I get what you're saying, because that's conflict that needs to happen.
Right.
But the thing is, unless he is able to, reawaken his psychic powers and just bust himself out, there's only a few options that I see. One, he's in here forever. And however long it takes for the environment that this dude creates to wear Mob down, eventually does.
And he wins. Yes.
And he wins.
Yep.
And then from there, Mob is, forever changed. Or he wins, he goes out, Mob sees that the real world is totally different, and then, undone and whatever. And then we go from there. But there's no reason to say this couldn't all just done.
Yeah, those are the two options where the bad guy wins. Right.
And unless the only way that Mob wins here in the immediate sense, I know in the long term that this is all because storytelling, it's going to end up causing Mob to help him address this and whatnot, and be great. But in the immediate sense, unless there is some psychic explosion, whatever, that causes him to, awaken, or the guy for some reason has a change of heart, which does not seem possible at all. Because of basically Mob holding to his ideals, and then the bad guy realizing that he was in the wrong after all, or something like that, which wouldn't make sense. That's the only way I could see Mob winning in this scenario.
Okay.
But it'll be interesting to see how they handle it, for sure. But
because I don't think this is as Kobayashi Maru as you make it out to be, especially since we just talked about how the positive emotion is actually stronger than the negative emotion mechanically, based on how they introduce explosions in
Right.
show.
Well, yeah, positive emotions are stronger, but the thing is, environment is stronger than willpower.
That's it.
That's the thing.
That's
and
your
he controls
point.
the environment. Reagan doesn't have to exist in here. He doesn't have to have
Yeah.
any voices of anyone that is telling him anything that is feeding that. He can starve it out and squish it into the ground, and eventually it'll burn out.
He can turn the voice actually negative. He can turn.
Oh yeah, he could have Reagan start feeding all sorts of lies to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's playing with all the cards, right?
Yep.
He's playing with all the cards, and he's writing the cards. You know, so
yeah, I think then that's why I don't care about the environment.
Because it's so absolute that
yeah, exactly. Why even theorize about that? Because it's like, oh, obvious. Like,
right, and that's
like go introspective. Go like even more introspective here.
But that's why this is gonna hurt because.
Well, yeah. But like we've been wanting Mob to go through the pain and anguish that is actually like dealing with his internal state. Like this is more than that now. You're right. This is the environment compounding onto that to render his internal state like almost moot, like a moot point. Yeah. That's why it has to be a battle of his internal state. And I guess I'm metagaming here, but
I'm totally on board with you there.
I'm wondering what your thoughts are on the internal state. Because so far, I haven't heard any debates or theories about what the internal state conflict will be independent of the environment.
Independent from the environment.
See, that's the thing.
See, that's the thing. Because the way that he's going to be bringing the conflict into the internals is through the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like that's how it's going to happen.
Right, and then the way that Mob will have his moment of peace will be when he separates the two. This is something that I feel like maybe I've struggled with a lot in life, so I have a weird perspective on it, is that the environment is not, and this might be just some part of my own brokenness, is that the environment is not real. The environment is not real. It's ultimately a thing that combats your internal state with all its might to demand that you accept it as real. But really, perception determines reality. Is perception a part of the environment?
Absolutely.
No.
Yes, it is directly a part of reality.
No. Perception is your filter of the environment.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's yours.
Yeah, sure.
So it's not a part of the environment.
I know it's a filter.
No. I got you. But just run with me here. Run with me here. This is what I think they're going for. Like, it's so beautiful if they do this.
They could. But the thing is that they broke the borders.
Well, they were foreshadowing that we're going to break the borders. No. They actually broke the borders here.
No. But what I'm saying is that this is territory that Mob Psycho has not gone into. It got kind of dark in the first season, and they explored some good things there.
Yeah.
This is something entirely different. This is on a scale that we have not seen before, right? The best way that I would see someone basically winning in this situation, where the environment, like, because the thing is, you can do your best to ignore the environment, but you can't make it go away. You can try and move to a different environment, but hey, this person's God.
You have to accept it.
You have to accept it. You have to accept it, or you have to leave, and the only way you can do that is by dying.
Right. So he's going to accept it.
So right, which is
okay, because that was the point we were talking about, was that emotion is wholly, for the most part, negative. Emotion is something that combats us and is not necessarily our friend, but it is a filter. This is no. Sorry, actually, emotion is not a filter. Emotion is almost the energy by which we enact our will upon the world. Sure. And so it's great that they drives
our decisions.
It's great that they connected the psychic energy with emotion. It's brilliant. Yeah. By having perception being questioned here, though, I think what they are saying is they're trying to make sure that we are reminded that while the environment is hell, while the environment will win, the environment is right, environment is stronger than willpower, we have to accept the environment as it is so that we can go internally and bring the combat, bring the conflict, bring the perception there. By turning your perception outwards, you can experience and have a connection with reality.
Right.
But in order to actually affect reality, you have to turn inward. And that's what I think that that's what I think it's going to be. So that
and if that is enough to work, then that basically just means that this person didn't actually want what they stated to have wanted.
Who?
The whoever the person is, I forget their name, that is making this world, that is in control of Mob's world right now.
Because they have control of the environment.
Yeah, it's like you come to accept control of Mob. You come to accept the environment. Great, it gets worse. Okay, you somehow adapt to that. It gets worse. Yes. You somehow adapt to that. It gets worse. He can play this game forever.
I know.
This could all be happening in the span of 3 seconds, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter. And unless so the only way, barring some psychic explosion that forces the guy out, the only way that he can win is by basically appealing to his humanity in some way, by demonstrating how strongly he holds to his ideals or whatever, which should not work on this guy. They could do that, but it shouldn't with how they built this guy up. Unless they actually get him to start talking to Mob and he comes in here too. That could be interesting, because then they could actually explore why he has this twisted perspective himself, right?
Sure.
But
yeah. I'm very, very impressed by the passion you have surrounding this. So I'm more or less interested now in just kind of watching the next episode.
Right? Yeah. How are they going to do this? Because it's like, is this going to be 1 episode? Is it going to be 5?
Right. Because I feel like you're trying to say that Mob Psycho just made an amazing episode and wrote themselves into a corner here. Because I don't understand that, but I mean they might.
They kind of did. And they kind of did.
Remember, Jacob, Reagan gratitude giving psychic powers was a thing that happened at the end of the first season, and that wasn't writing them into a corner.
And that's
why
I would say they didn't write
the world.
Yeah, they didn't write themselves into a corner, because the whole point is that Mob breaks the rules, right? But since his rules he breaks the rules, except in this case,
why not here?
Well, the way it would work here is with the explosion, but other than that,
But he has no psychic powers.
Right, exactly. So, but they could have that as the explosion is still going, and then once that happens, he somehow busts through or whatever, and maybe that's what the guy's working towards. So it's sort of like the it worked, and then and then it all goes badly, right? But
I guess we have very different perceptions. That's great,
and we'll have to see how they handle it.
Yeah,
boys.
I just have to end the discussion here. It's just going on a bit long, but guys, thank you so much for watching this reaction discussion. This has been a really, really good episode. We didn't even talk actually about the episode's plot or anything, but if you've watched the episodes, you know the plot. You don't need us to recap it for you, but we appreciate you all so much, and thank you so much for watching our videos and stuff like that. We have full length reactions on our Patreon, though. If you want to get every bit of the reaction there, go check that out. It's links in the description below. If you want to get involved with the discussion side of things on our Discord, any level of Patreon support gets you access to that. We do talk about the episodes with other people in the Discord on a Mob Psycho specific channel there. No future manga stuff or anything like that. But yeah, after we watch the episode stuff week to week, it's pretty fun.
Also, Battle Lines, my sci-fi novel, is available for pre-order. So pinned comment down below with the link to the Kickstarter.
Check it out.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.